What if I told you that you've been watching the wrong story? What if, beneath the shimmering lightsabers and heroic rescues, you've been conditioned to ignore the screams? We see a farm boy become a hero, an evil empire fall, and a mystical force bring balance to the galaxy. But what if that's all a grand deception? What if Star Wars isn't the epic fairy tale we think it is? What if it's a cosmic horror story, disguised as a space adventure? A story where heroes are just the last ones left standing, where hope is a brief flicker, and the universe itself is fundamentally terrifying. The impersonal horror of the machine. The first layer of horror in Star Wars is the biggest and most terrifying, the sheer, indifferent scale of its destruction. We've been taught to fear the personal evil of Darth Vader or Emperor Palpatine, but the real terror isn't personal. It's industrial. It's the Death Star. The Death Star isn't an angry monster. It's a machine, a perfectly engineered sphere designed for one purpose: to erase. It doesn't hate Alderaan. It doesn't care about the billions of people on it. It simply calculates their annihilation. This is the very essence of cosmic dread, the feeling of being insignificant in the face of an incomprehensible, uncaring universe. The Death Star embodies that perfectly. It's a god of destruction that isn't even aware of what it's doing. It just is. The galaxy is littered with these terrors. From the first Death Star to the second, and even to the planet-destroying weapons of the Separatists and the terrifying superweapons conceived by the Empire's most ruthless engineers. This isn't a galaxy of heroes and villains. It's a gallery of apocalyptic weapons waiting to be unleashed. The heroes' victories are only ever temporary reprieves from a constant, pervasive threat of total, impersonal annihilation. The galaxy itself seems to be built on a foundation of cataclysmic weapons and civilizations capable of unimaginable cruelty. It's a universe where planet killers aren't a one-off evil, but a recurring theme, suggesting that the drive for total destruction is a fundamental part of its reality. This is a universe that doesn't just contain horror. It is defined by it. This impersonal horror extends far beyond the Death Star. In the prequel era, the Separatist droid army is a perfect example. These are not living, breathing soldiers. They are mechanical units, and their overwhelming numbers create a feeling of dread that is hard to shake. They are relentless, unfeeling, and seemingly endless. The entire Clone Wars, beneath the surface of heroic Jedi battles, is a conflict between an army of living, thinking beings bred for war and a vast, faceless army of machines. It's a war of attrition on a galactic scale, where life is treated as a resource to be spent, and machines are the true masters of the battlefield. The horror of the machine isn't just in its power to destroy. It's in its ability to erase the value of life itself. The clones are not just soldiers. They are disposable parts of the Republic's war machine. Their deaths are not mourned. They are simply tallied. This is the kind of existential horror that makes you question the very nature of heroism and sacrifice. What is the point of fighting if you're just a number, a piece of a larger machine that will eventually break you down and throw you away? This is the core of the cosmic dread in Star Wars, the feeling that the universe is not just dangerous, but actively hostile to the very concept of individual existence. It's a galaxy where the biggest threats are not monsters or madmen, but cold, unfeeling systems that have no regard for life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness. It's the horror of being a cog in a machine that is designed for total destruction, and the horrifying realization that your own agency is just an illusion. The terror of the impersonal, of the grand, uncaring system, is the first and most foundational horror of the Star Wars universe. It's the kind of fear that leaves you with a cold, empty feeling in the pit of your stomach, a kind of fear that reminds you that you are just a speck of dust in a vast, terrifying cosmos. The horrors of the body and the psychological scars. The horror in Star Wars isn't just cosmic and impersonal. It's also deeply visceral and psychological. The galaxy is a brutal place where physical torment and mental anguish are commonplace. The creatures that inhabit it aren't just fantasy monsters. They are instruments of pure, unsettling cruelty. The Sarlacc pit, for instance, isn't just a big hole in the ground. In the Legends canon, we're told it's a beast that digests its victims. Over 1,000 years, trapping them in a slow, agonizing process of pain and suffering. The rancor isn't a cool monster to fight. It's a living torture device, a symbol of Jabba's power to feed his enemies to a monstrous pet. This isn't just about jump scares or quick battles. It's about the slow, agonizing brutality that permeates the universe. The simple acts of violence, from the dismembered limbs of a Jedi to the gruesome fate of creatures on a desert planet, all point to a world where bodies are fragile and can be broken in 1,000 terrible ways. Even more chilling is the horror of the mind. In the Legends continuity, the trauma of the clone troopers is a particularly dark and haunting theme. They are not droids. They are living beings bred for war, with a lifespan that can be ended by a single command. Their entire existence is a violation of their personhood, a brutal testament to the war machine's disregard for life. They are given names and personalities, only to be turned into weapons and ultimately discarded. The Jedi often saw them as individuals, but the Republic and the war machine that created them saw them as nothing more than a resource. Their ultimate betrayal through Order 66 is a moment of profound psychological horror, a brutal act of mental conditioning that turned friends into enemies in an instant. This forced obedience and loss of free will is one of the most terrifying concepts in the Legends universe. And then there's the ultimate example of body and psychological horror, Anakin Skywalker. His fall to the dark side is only the beginning of his suffering. He is burned alive on Mustafar, his body mutilated beyond recognition. In Legends, this torment is even more detailed and visceral. He's put into a suit, a living coffin that doesn't just protect him, it tortures him. The suit is a constant, grinding reminder of his pain, his betrayal, and the loss of his humanity. The first breath he takes as Darth Vader isn't a moment of triumph. It's the beginning of a life sentence in a biomechanical prison. The suit's life support system is a constant source of agony, and the rage and pain it generates are what fuel his dark side. This is not just a transformation. It's a ritual of body and soul mutilation, a process that turns a man into a machine and then makes that machine his personal hell. The psychological trauma extends to the heroes as well. Obi-Wan Kenobi spends decades in self-imposed exile, tormented by the memories of his fallen apprentice. In Legends, his isolation on Tatooine is a living hell, a constant reminder of his failure to save Anakin and his immense guilt. He watches over Luke, but he can't save him from the same fate that befell his father. This is the psychological horror of guilt and regret, a torment far more subtle and insidious than any monster. Luke Skywalker's own journey is a masterclass in psychological trauma. He is ripped from his home, witnesses the murder of his family, and is immediately thrust into a galactic civil war. The weight of his destiny is not a gift, it's a crippling burden. The vision in the dark side cave, where he sees his own face in Darth Vader's mask, is a moment of pure psychological terror. It's the fear that he will become the very evil he is fighting against, that the darkness is a part of him. And this fear is not misplaced. Even after his triumphs, Luke's story in Legends doesn't end with a peaceful retirement. He faces the New Republic's political failures, the rise of powerful new threats, and the ultimate loss of his Jedi Order. He is a broken hero, a victim of the endless cycle of violence. He lives out his final days as a hermit, isolated and full of regret, a grim testament to the psychological toll of a lifetime of war. The characters in Legends aren't just heroes. They are victims of trauma, forever changed by the horrors they have witnessed. The galaxy is a place where every victory comes at a psychological cost, and every hero is just a survivor with a story to tell. A story that is often filled with pain and loss. This is the horror that makes the grand, sweeping narrative feel so small and so tragic. It's the kind of horror that reminds you that no matter how big the triumph, the scars will always remain. The Legends continuity, with its in-depth exploration of the characters' post-victory struggles and mental anguish, truly drives home this point. The dark side doesn't just corrupt, it leaves permanent psychological wounds that can never fully heal. The existential horror of the Force. What about the mystical, guiding hand that is the Force? We're told it's a benevolent energy that binds the galaxy together, a source of peace and wisdom. But in the Star Wars Legends continuity, a much more sinister and truly terrifying truth is revealed. What if the Force isn't a guiding light, but a malevolent, amoral puppeteer? What if the Jedi and Sith aren't masters of this cosmic energy, but simply its most powerful and tragic tools? This is the ultimate existential terror of the Legends universe. The idea that your choices don't matter, that you are just a pawn in a cosmic game you can never truly comprehend or win. The Force isn't the solution to the galaxy's problems. It's the source of them. It's a self-perpetuating cycle of suffering. This Jedi are trained to suppress their emotions, their personal attachments, and their free will in service of a greater cosmic will. Their code of emotional detachment isn't a path to wisdom. It's a desperate and ultimately futile coping mechanism for the existential dread of being a pawn. They are not ascetics who have transcended their humanity. They are traumatized individuals who have built a system to protect themselves from the Force's cruel whims. The Jedi Order, for all its power and knowledge, is a rigid and flawed institution, so afraid of the dark side that they created a wall against it, a wall that inevitably crumbled. They blindly followed the Force, believing it to be a benevolent guide, while it secretly set them up for a fall. Their arrogance, their complacency, and their rigid interpretation of the Forces will all contributed to their own destruction. A destruction that the Force, in its amoral nature, allowed to happen. The Force, in this light, is a malevolent cosmic entity, manipulating individuals and civilizations for its own unknowable purposes. Its balance isn't a state of peace, but a continuous brutal struggle between opposing forces. This cyclical nature of war and peace, light and dark, is the ultimate horror. The Sith rise, the Jedi fall. The Jedi rise, the Sith fall. It's a cosmic horror show where the same terrible events play out again and again, with new victims each time. The concept of destiny, which is so central to legends, becomes less of a comforting notion and more of a terrifying sentence. The Jedi and Sith are trapped in a cosmic game, and their choices are merely the movements of pieces on a board. This existential horror is most evident in the tragic fate of Anakin Skywalker. His destiny as the prophesied chosen one was not a glorious one. It was a horrifying one. He was not destined to simply bring peace. He was meant to fall, to become Darth Vader, and to suffer immensely, all for the sake of the Force's mysterious plan. The Force is not a source of hope. It is a source of cosmic dread, a terrifying entity that controls the fate of all life. It whispers promises of power, of destiny, and of purpose, but all it delivers is a life of servitude, and, ultimately, a fate that is preordained and tragic. The Force is a primordial, amoral entity, and it will always find a way to express its true nature, whether through the rise of a new Jedi or the fall of a new Sith. The galaxy is a stage for this eternal conflict, and the Force is the director. Pulling the strings and ensuring the play is never-ending. The legend's continuity provides even more terrifying evidence of the Force's nature. One of the most chilling examples is the Yuuzhan Vong War. The Yuuzhan Vong are a race entirely outside the Force, a cosmic anomaly that throws the entire Jedi understanding of the universe into chaos. The Force's benevolence is revealed to be a lie, as it is utterly silent against a threat that cannot be sensed or reasoned with. For the first time, the Jedi are powerless, their spiritual guidance gone, and the galaxy is plunged into a war of unimaginable brutality. The Force, in its indifference, allowed this cataclysmic event to happen, revealing its true nature not as a benevolent protector, but as an amoral, passive force that only reacts to threats within its own framework. The Jedi's helplessness in the face of this new evil is the ultimate testament to the Force's horrifying truth. It doesn't care about life or death. It only cares about its own internal balance. The Force's psychological manipulation is also far more pronounced in legends. Anakin's visions of his mother's death are not a gift, but a cruel torture. The Force shows him a future he can't change, a tragedy he can't prevent, and in doing so, it drives him to the very brink of madness, pushing him toward the dark side. It's a tool of torment, not enlightenment. A similar form of manipulation is seen in the story of Revan. He is a Jedi hero, but the Force, through a series of cosmic machinations, pushes him down a path of darkness and conquest. After his fall, the Jedi Council reprograms his mind, erasing his memories and turning him into a new tool to fight the very war he started. Revan's journey is a profound act of existential horror, a powerful reminder that the Force and its agents do not respect personal boundaries, free will, or even personal identity. The Force does not want a hero. It wants a pawn, and it will manipulate, erase, and rebuild a soul to get what it wants. This terrifying truth is further solidified by the existence of Abeloth, a powerful cosmic entity of pure chaos and madness that the Force created and struggles to contain. Abeloth is a living testament to the Force's own instability and dangerous nature. She is the embodiment of the Force's own inherent darkness, a monster that the galaxy must face because the Force itself is not as pure or benevolent as the Jedi believe. Abeloth is a true cosmic horror, a terrifying force of nature that proves A force is a double-edged sword, a source of both creation and profound destruction. The Jedi are not just fighting the Sith. They are fighting the Force's own demons, a battle they can never truly win. This is the true horror of the Force. It is a sentient, a moral entity that uses and discards lives for its own cosmic game. And the Jedi and Sith are just the unfortunate pawns in a conflict that can never truly be won. The Force is a terrifying and inescapable power, and its presence is the single most horrifying element of the entire Star Wars universe. It is the puppet master behind all the suffering, and the promise of balance is just a euphemism for its brutal, unending cycle of death and rebirth. If you want a more in-depth video about the Force and why it's evil, check out the Grand Conspiracy on my channel. Link will be in description. The mundane and mechanical horror. The horror of Star Wars is also found in its cold mechanical efficiency, a mundane terror that pervades the very fabric of the galaxy. This is a universe where life is cheap and the machinery of war is all that truly matters. Think of the droids. In the Legends continuity, droids are sentient beings, yet they are treated as tools and discarded without a second thought. C-3PO is a walking museum of psychological trauma, constantly in a state of anxiety and fear from being disassembled, mind-wiped, and rebuilt over and over again. R2-D2 is an uncomplaining witness to galactic-scale carnage, carrying the weight of countless battles and deaths within his memory banks. The droids are the silent majority of the galaxy, and their existence is a testament to the systematic dehumanization that permeates every aspect of this universe. They are not just comic relief. They are a tragic underclass, forced to serve and suffer, and their pain is rarely acknowledged. The horror of droids is the horror of being a slave in a universe that has no regard for your existence. They can be wiped, reprogrammed, and destroyed at a moment's notice, and no one bats an eye. This is a form of horror that is so ingrained in the fabric of the galaxy that it's easy to overlook, but it's there, lurking beneath the surface of every scene. The Imperial Army is another chilling example of this mechanical horror. Stormtroopers aren't just faceless villains. In Legends, they are individuals whose humanity has been stripped away by an uncaring system. Many are not clones, but regular beings trained from a young age to be weapons. Their individuality and free will are suppressed through brutal training and indoctrination, making them extensions of a larger, impersonal war machine. Their deaths are as meaningless as the droids they fight alongside, their lives just another statistic in a brutal war of conquest. The sheer scale of the Imperial war machine is horrifying in its own right, a grinding, impersonal force that consumes all in its path. The technology of Star Wars, from the sleek Star Destroyers to the battle droids of the Clone Wars, is not just a tool. It's a character in the horror story, an unfeeling, relentless force of oppression and death. The galaxy is a place where life is cheap, and the machinery of war is all that truly matters. This mundane horror extends even to the objects of the universe. The trash compactor on the Death Star isn't just a waste disposal unit. It contains a living, breathing, one-eyed monster that wants to pull you under the garbage. Even the garbage is trying to kill you. This is a universe that is hostile on every level, a place where danger lurks in every corner, from the apathetic machine to the savage creature in the depths of a waste disposal unit. The horror of the mundane is a testament to the fact that The galaxy is a deeply, profoundly broken place. The horror of the mechanical is the horror of a universe that has been so thoroughly corrupted by technology and ideology that it no longer has any room for humanity. It's a universe where life is just a resource to be used, and the only thing that matters is the cold, unfeeling logic of the machine. The galaxy is a vast and unforgiving place, and its horrors are as commonplace as the twin suns of Tatooine. The horror of the inevitable cycle. The greatest horror of all in the Star Wars universe isn't a single monster, a single weapon, or a single villain. It's the inescapable, unending cycle of violence and suffering. The entire Legends saga is built on this foundation, a terrifying, repeating pattern that no one, not even the most powerful Jedi or Sith, can truly break. We are conditioned to see the climax of each major conflict as a final victory, a moment of resolution. But a closer look reveals it's just the end of one act and the beginning of another. The Jedi fight the Sith fall, the Jedi rise, and then the whole thing starts over again. The galaxy never truly finds peace. This cyclical nature is the universe's most malevolent feature. It's a cosmic joke on every character who believes they are making a difference. Think about the Galactic Republic. For thousands of years, it was a bastion of democracy and peace, a shining example of galactic governance. But beneath the surface, it was rotting. The very structures meant to protect it became its undoing. The political corruption, the bureaucratic inefficiency, and the blind arrogance of the Jedi Order all created the perfect conditions for a shadowy figure to seize control. The Republic didn't just fall. It was consumed from within, giving way to the Galactic Empire. This wasn't a random event. It was the inevitable conclusion of a system that had become too complacent. The Empire, in its brutal efficiency, seemed to offer a form of order, but it was an order built on fear and oppression. The heroes of the original trilogy fought and sacrificed to bring it down, celebrating their victory at the Battle of Endor. We, as the audience, felt that relief, that sense of a job well done. But what followed? The Legends continuity shows us that the battle wasn't over. The hero's victory was nothing more than a temporary reprieve. The Empire, far from being completely defeated, fractured into countless Imperial remnants led by ruthless warlords and cunning strategists like Grand Admiral Thrawn. The new Republic, the new hope for the galaxy, was immediately plunged into a decade-long war of attrition against these persistent foes. The conflict didn't just end with a single victorious battle. It became a long, grinding struggle against a broken but still lethal enemy. The heroes of the original trilogy were forced to become wartime leaders, their idealism slowly eroded by the constant, brutal reality of fighting a never-ending war. The so-called peace they fought for was a mirage, and the galaxy continued to suffer. Decades later, even after the New Republic had solidified its power, the cycle continued in even more devastating ways. The galaxy was rocked by the Second Imperial Civil War and countless other conflicts, proving that the roots of war and suffering had never truly been removed. But the most horrifying manifestation of this cycle came with the Yuuzhan Vong War. This wasn't just a rehash of old conflicts. It was a completely new existential threat that forced the galaxy to re-fight a war for its very survival. The Vong, a race of aliens completely immune to the Force, killed billions, destroyed entire planets, and plunged the galaxy into an era of unprecedented darkness. This proved that even when the Jedi and Sith were in balance, the galaxy was not safe. The Force, in its indifference, allowed this cataclysmic event to happen, revealing that its balance had nothing to do with peace or prosperity for the living. The suffering of one generation only set the stage for the next in an even more terrifying and brutal form. This cyclical horror is most acutely felt by the characters themselves. The legacy of suffering is passed down like a curse. Luke Skywalker, a farm boy who became a hero, spends his later life as a weary, broken man. He's not a triumphant Jedi master who ushered in an era of peace. He's a man haunted by his failures, convinced that his own legacy of heroism only led to more pain. He saw his new Jedi Order, the legacy of his life's work, decimated by the Vong War. He lost his beloved friends, family, and countless students in a conflict that seemed to prove that the light side could never truly win. This isn't just a simple case of a student turning evil. It's the Force itself ensuring the cycle continues, forcing the light and dark to rebalance in a new, brutal form. Luke lives with the knowledge that his fight was not the final one, and that the promise of a peaceful galaxy was a lie. The heroes of legends are not fighting for a happy ending. They are fighting to delay a tragic one. Their bravery is a beautiful, but ultimately futile gesture in a universe that is fundamentally broken and determined to repeat its own suffering forever. This is the horror of the inevitable, the realization that no matter how hard you fight, you can never truly win. The galaxy is a cosmic prison, and the Force is the warden, ensuring that the inmates never truly escape. The final deception. So why do we ignore it? Because the fantasy is more comforting. We want to believe in the fairy tale, in the hero who saves the day, and in the promise of a happy ending. But the deeper you look into the legend's continuity, the more you see that the happy endings are just temporary reprieves from a perpetually broken galaxy. The Force is not a benevolent guide, it's a cruel master. The heroes are not chosen, they are groomed for a life of suffering. And the villains are just the most visible manifestations of a horror that is woven into the very fabric of the universe. Star Wars isn't a story about good triumphing over evil. It's a story about a galaxy perpetually on the brink of collapse, where heroes are forged in fire and turned into monsters, and where the greatest threats aren't just evil lords, but the systems of destruction and oppression they create. The final moments of the Legends era are not a triumph, but a continuation of the cycle. The Empire falls, but a decade-long struggle with persistent Imperial warlords like Grand Admiral Thrawn begins. The heroes of the rebellion spend their lives fighting against the remnants of a war they thought they had already won. The galaxy is not saved. It is merely given a brief, fragile moment of peace before the next cycle of violence begins. A cycle that will eventually bring about the devastating Yuuzhan Vong War. This is the ultimate horror of Legends, the feeling of a universe that is trapped in a never-ending cycle of suffering, a place where hope is not a promise, but a cruel joke. A hero's struggles are not a path to a better future, but a desperate attempt to delay the inevitable. The galaxy is a cosmic prison, and the Force is the warden, ensuring that the inmates never truly escape. This is the horror that is hidden in plain sight, the one that we've been conditioned to ignore. It's the horror of a universe so vast and uncaring that it makes individual lives utterly meaningless. It's the horror of a system so powerful that it can turn living beings into unthinking weapons. a lesson learned from the tragic fate of the clones and stormtroopers. It's the horror of a mystical force that is not a benevolent guide, but a cruel puppet master. A truth revealed by the devastating rise of the Yuzhong Vong and the chaotic madness of Abeloth. It's the horror of a cycle, of violence that can never truly be broken. Star Wars is not a fairy tale. It's a Greek tragedy set in space, a story where the heroes are doomed to fight and suffer, and where the only ending is a brief moment of quiet before the next storm dot. So when you read the legends again, will you see the heroes, or will you hear the screams? Will you see the triumphs, or the temporary reprieves? The true terror of Star Wars legends is not in the villains or the monsters, but in the tragic, cyclical nature of a universe that is fundamentally broken and cannot be saved.